There, welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Kayla. Kayla says, I experience a lot of difficulty implementing this understanding in one area of my life. My partner has 2 kids and we're planning to have a baby together now. The kids are both aiming to be professional tennis players, so every weekend is filled with tennis and it plays a big part in our daily lives. I honestly have absolutely no interest in tennis at all. I get so annoyed that tennis has to play such a big part in my life and also in my future child's life. So my thinking is being driven by the feeling of it's not fair that my life and my future child's life have to adjust so much to his kids. So my mind makes calculations of what would be fair, making rules and plans so his kids don't take too much attention and time. Also, the feeling of separation is very present. Me, my future baby, him, his kids, his ex-partner. I know we're not separate entities, but it feels like that very strongly. Maybe you could offer some perspective on how to not feel so separate from his kids and also how to let go of this is not fair. So thank you for sending your question, Kayla. And I love what you see in this, like the angle you're going, because I feel inclined to go in that direction as well, that you notice exactly what's going on, right? There's this sense of separation. There's this sense of a me trying to protect itself, trying to be protected, not fair. And then in that, the mind goes, right? And the plans and the strategies and how can I get enough time for me and my future child and what's fair and what's not. And the whole thing is just a big mental churn. And I know you see that and you feel it. And I really encourage you, though, to take that a little deeper if you can and really, really see this as like a big play. It's a big show playing out where this future baby doesn't even exist yet. The future doesn't exist and never will. All of this is imagination, the mind, thought. It creates this sense of a you, sometimes very obvious, sometimes very subtle. When there's a you, everything else has to feel very separate. So they, as you're saying, the children and his ex and all of that feel very separate to the extent that the you feels very real and very solid. It has to be that way. It's just there's no them without an us, right? So there's this me-them thing that gets kind of picked up, and then in its protection of that thought, it's just a movement of thought. This movement of thought creates a you, creates a them, and then it creates time. And it goes back and it says, this is what it's looked like so far, and this is the trajectory they're on, and this is what my future is going to look like. And that does not feel fair to this little me creation, of course. But really, really look, Kayla, for that one who's being kind of wronged in this situation, the one to whom this isn't fair, the you, basically, that me. Where is she? Really look and see if you can find her. Who is this one? It's a very deep question, and don't let your mind answer it, because of course it won't. Who or where or what is this me? Is this one that feels like a me whose future and whose future child's future, lots of future, is at risk? Where is that me? Really look and see if you can find her. Is she here right now? As what does she exist? Like, where is she? What is she? Really see, is it this body? Is it images in mind of do you see your own face? Do you see your own body? Like, what do you see? Do you see your own past? Is there kind of like I think for most people that there's this subtle, when we look, we don't normally even look, but when we look, there's this subtle kind of caricature almost of us, like a outline of a body, and we have kind of maybe some traits or maybe some past sort of built into that. But really look at that, whatever that is, like find this you. If there's really a me that's so separate and that's being wronged and that needs all this protection, that needs her future protected to the extent that all these rules and strategies need to come in, that's normal. It's fine. It's what happens. But look for what's at the center of that. None of that makes any sense unless we know what it's about. It's all centering on this Kayla at the center of all of this, who's not okay, who needs things a certain way, who's already being wronged in the future by his kids and those people and all of this separation. So really, really take it to task. Really inquire into this and look and see if you can find that Kayla whose future is wronged, whose future needs protection, whose future child, who even has a future child, and whose future child's future needs protection. Find her and see where she exists and as what she exists. What does she exist as? And I know you probably know the answer, and the answer doesn't matter because the whole thing is about actually looking and seeing what you see. But if it happens that you can only find her as thought, if you can only find her in thought, as a sense or a feeling or an image in consciousness, if that's the only place she is, and again, you look and see, and if you find her there, really look, what is this? How is she represented? What is she? Do you feel her in your chest? Do you feel her in your back? Do you feel her in your feet? Do you see her in your mind's eye? Really look and see how this is being created. As you kind of go into that, just move closer to that sense and see, what is this? Is she only in thought? And if she's only in thought, if she's created in thinking, and all this other thinking is created to protect her, is that necessary? What are we going to see about that? Now, we're not asking if it's necessary in the sense of oh, that's not necessary, so I'll just stop. There's no, you'll see, but it's not about you stopping anything. It's not about anything being any different. It's about really seeing what's going on. And I know you're onto it by the way you asked the question, for sure. I know you're very onto it. Is there this actual separation between you and the kids and the ex and your future child? Where are those lines? Where is that separation exists? And again, look and see. And as you look, just be very curious and really, really kind of take this on with curiosity and a willingness to see whatever there is to discover about this. Now, these feelings might continue, this whole sense of it's not fair. That's very common. It's what it, when we feel like a me that's separate from all of them, it's not fair, and protection strategies and all of that, they just come along for the ride. That's why I'm telling you to really investigate this me and this separation, because that's the linchpin here. The it's not fair and the how do I fix it and how do I get more for myself and all of that. I know that can feel kind of selfish and not good, but it's just part of believing we're a fragile me. Of course that's going to be there. So that all starts to crumble as you really look at who is this all for? Who are all these protection strategies really for? And just look and see what you see. And know that if that thinking continues, and it probably will, that's okay. That's totally okay. You just see it. You're going to be seeing it from fresh eyes in a new light. Oh, there's that again, this whole protection. But also, as you're looking, you can hold it very loosely and be very suspicious of it in a good way, very curious about it, but suspicious of it. By the way you asked this question, something's not right here. You even said, I think, there's not real separation. So you're onto the fact that all of this painful stuff is illusory. It is thought created. It's your own imagination, in a sense, creating characters and future problems, even for people who don't exist yet, and that's what minds do. They're really, really good at creating stuff in imagination, especially problems to solve. But then without that, then what? Now you're just here. There's no the weekend, his kids, tennis, not tennis. All of that is coming in thinking. If there's just this unfolding. There's activities and then no activities. There's liking those activities and some that we don't like. there's all of this, but it's in real time. And right now, it's not real time, right? What you're describing here is not real time. It's imagination creating imaginary futures. So I think you know this, but I really just encourage you to look very closely at it and see what you discover. And it's great that you're onto this already. Hold any fear and protection and all of that very, very loosely, and without needing to solve it, but just kind of watching how it rises and it's drawn and it comes to life, and then it also goes very often. Watch how it falls apart just as easily as it shows up. And let me know what you find as you explore. So thanks for sending the question, Kayla. You guys can send questions to AskAmy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and I will speak to them soon. Thanks, everyone.